Welcome back to Ring Fit Adventure. It's time for another episode of Like a Pro, where I talk through a fit skill in Ring Fit and give movement tips, adaptations and cues to make sure you're performing your moves correctly. Today's session is the hip lift, an excellent move that Adventure critically underuses owing to it being a healing skill, but a move that has many fantastic benefits for the body. If you've seen my 5 best fit skills video, you will know that this is the move that I, as a personal trainer, rate highest out of all moves in Ring Fit for function and benefit to the body. So I feel it's very important to go through it, make sure that we're doing it correctly and giving some cues, adaptations, progressions, regressions, stuff like that. Now, if you haven't seen the best fit skills video already, I do recommend it, obviously. The link will be up here, so yeah, give it a little go. Hip lift in game is used, as I said, as a healing move and as part of fit gyms, which means it isn't used as frequently as it really should. It is one that I put into 99% of my custom leg sessions though, because the hip extension, gluteus maximus contraction and core and lower back stability benefits are incredible. It is also one of the main ways that you train your hamstrings through Ring Fit Adventure, something that can be easy to unbalance against the quadriceps, so I highly recommend it. Now, let's get into those cues.
So the hip lift movement starts with our back to the ground in a supine position, and that's the entire back. This is the first of the important cues. We don't want to be able to fit our hand right underneath our back. We want to make sure that our back is planted fully on the ground. That's going to help with core stability and your erector spinae and everything like that. So what we want to do from here, make sure that we've got our feet planted in the ground, even distribution across the feet, and the ring between our legs right there. Now this is going to help stop the second cueing thing, which is that we don't want our knees to go in. We don't want our knees to cave in. Just like with a squat, we want to ensure that our knees are in a good position. The ring helps with that stability. So, last point, get your shoulders in a nice comfortable position. I like having palms down on the ground to help with support, but that's completely up to you. And that is our good starting position. Now from here, what we want to do is we are actually going to be lifting from the hips, going to be driving upwards until we have our knees and shoulders in a straight line, so the back straight, okay? So coming up, nice and straight, driving up with the hips, and we want to clench our butt cheeks at the top to make sure that our hips don't sag. And then we can reverse the motion nice and smoothly. Just like that. Very good. Now, no craning of the neck. I know it's tempting to want to watch what's going on the screen, but you can do a little bit of damage to your neck if you're doing that. So make sure your neck is nice and relaxed, shoulders in contact with the ground constantly, even distribution of weight across the feet, and we're driving up with those hips. Fantastic. So let's have a look at some regressions. Now, as far as regressions go, there's not a massive amount because this is one of the basic forms of the glute bridge. But what you can do, once you've set up the rep, once you've set up your hip lift, put the ring down. Just put the ring down. Because a lot of people struggle with the ring like popping out everywhere and everything. But the entire point of that is to help with the stability with your knees. As long as when you're going up, you aren't driving your knees in like that, you do not need that ring because the entire movement is based off of the leg strap. So just remove the ring. It removes a bit of stress from you and it's going to make it a little bit easier for you long term. Now, if you do want to use the ring, absolutely fine, but it's not necessary. Now, as far as the other thing that we can do, we can alter our arm position and that will help with support when going up. Now, as far as progressions go, there is a quite simple one, which is just add resistance. So you can add weight effectively to this movement because the weight would go across the hip. So you can do that with a barbell if you've got one. You put that across the hip and then just drive up. Make sure you're holding onto the barbell to make sure it doesn't roll down your stomach or anything like that or hurt you. But that is something that you can do as long as you are confident with that. Now, the alternate thing that you can do with doing the hip lift is you can hold a weight. You can hold this here just to challenge yourself a little bit more, or you can place it over your hip and drive up. You again want to make sure that you are supporting this properly. The weight will be more centered into your hip and into your groin area, which can be a little bit dangerous, so you don't want to do this with too heavy a weight, okay? I do recommend the barbell over this one. And that's really what you would do as far as a progression goes. I'd like to give an honorable shout out to the one-legged hip lift. Obviously that could work, but the thing with the one-legged hip lift is that you would need to double the amount of reps that you're doing because you would want to have the balance on both sides. So you would have to do all of the reps on one leg and then all of the reps on the other leg or something like that, or alternate. You need to make sure that you're having that balance with the body. You know how much I enjoy balance with the body. And that's your progressions.
Ring Fit Adventure has a slew of leg-based fit skills that can assist with the hip lift. Building strength in the gluteus maximus, one of the dominant muscles in hip lift, can be done effectively with any of the varieties of squat, although overhead squat in particular helps with the core and leg abduction muscles, which helps with knee and leg stability for the hip lift. Thigh press also helps with the core and leg adduction muscles for stability, whilst leg scissors and flutter kicks work in a similar supine position for core strength and multi-directional hip function. So, in the way of a conclusion, hip lift is awesome, and that's how you do it. The combo of glute strength and hip extension makes it a fantastic move for almost anyone. It's a great functional move. It is especially useful for those who spend a lot of time sitting down at a desk or an office job or something like that. It is incredibly important to make sure you're training those muscles to counteract against the hip flexion that you are constantly in. That hip flexion over time can cause absolute havoc with your pelvis, so it is really important to make sure you're doing moves like this to counteract it. It helps with physical health and also sexual health as well, which is really important, so it's definitely one that we should be bringing into our programs. So remember those important cues: your entire back on the ground at the start, drive up with your hips, don't let your knees go in, and have a straight line from shoulders to knees at the top of your rep. With these tips, you'll be nailing the hip lift and getting a better posture at the same time. So do you enjoy the hip lift? What moves do you enjoy, and what moves would you like to see me cover in the Like a Pro series? Let me know in the comments, and as always, like, share and subscribe for more fitness gaming content incoming. I've been Master Trainer Peter, and I'll see you soon.